look too long into an abyss, the abyss looks back at you. Nietzsche was the philosopher who dared to unmask the truths that sustain our existence. He stated that what we call good and evil are nothing but convenient inventions, masks created to control us and to hide the true essence of life: chaos, struggle, power, and suffering. But this boldness had a price for him. Nietzsche not only revealed the emptiness behind human beliefs, he challenged us to face it. The most dangerous idea he left us is that, when looking into the abyss, we are confronted with our deepest weaknesses, for the abyss looks back at us, where excessive contemplation of the dark side of life, such as despair, pain, or violence, can lead us to adopt a negative or cynical perspective, bringing us the danger of a meaningless life. Today, we are going to dive into this idea that destroys our certainties and explore what happens when we abandon illusions and face the emptiness of the abyss face to face. A path that can lead either to madness or to absolute freedom. Nietzsche, in his work Beyond Good and Evil, invites us to question everything we take for granted about morality. For him, the concepts of good and evil, so deeply rooted in our consciousness, are not universal truths, but merely human creations shaped by power interests. Nietzsche saw morality as an expression of the will to power, which is the force that drives us to shape the world in our favor. Behind our actions, he identified a constant struggle for dominance, where what we call good reflects the qualities of the powerful, such as strength, courage, and autonomy. Meanwhile, evil is everything that challenges and goes against this authority. And what about us who live under these constructions? Think about the act of dancing in the street. You might feel foolish out of fear of other people's judgment, or staying in a job you hate because you believe it's the right thing to do. For Nietzsche, these traditional values imprison us and distance us from our true essence. His proposal is radical: to philosophize with a hammer, destroying the comfortable illusions that sustain our worldview. He states that morality is not a divine or absolute guide, but a mask created to control us and to protect us from the raw truth that life is chaos, struggle, and suffering. Nietzsche was not content just to think he unmasked. For him, sacred values such as religion, politics, and morality were nothing but fragile constructions designed to hide the void. His greatest challenge was to face this naked truth without fleeing from it or disguising it. It's a vision that demands courage, because when we remove the masks, we stand face to face with the abyss in existence that many prefer to ignore. God is dead, and we have killed him. The idea of the death of God in Nietzsche goes far beyond a simple critique of religion. It's a declaration that shakes the foundations of all the values we hold highest, forcing us to face the uncomfortable question: what do we believe in when those values fall? When Nietzsche declared that God was dead, he wasn't speaking only of a deity, but of the void that arises with the collapse of inherited values. A void that forces us to reevaluate the meaning of life, morality, and the conventions that guide our existence. He did not condemn the figure of Jesus Christ, but criticized institutionalized Christianity, which, according to him, served more to control the masses than to elevate the human spirit. In The Antichrist, Nietzsche confronts the dogmas and impositions of the Church, exposing how this religious morality was not a spiritual guide, but a tool of submission. For him, traditional morality is sustained by fear, the fear of doing wrong, of disobedience, of losing access to a supposed heavenly reward. It's a morality based on guilt and submission that imprisons us in a web of obligations and expectations, distancing us from our true essence. This brings to mind how the rules we learn, the values we adopt, and the meanings we build throughout life can be like invisible chains that distance us from authenticity and prevent us from living fully and truthfully. Nietzsche challenges us to face these bonds and to question everything we do and believe to be right. but what remains for us when God is dead, when the values that once guided us collapse, and everything that once seemed essential loses its meaning. It is in this void that nihilism is born. Nihilism is the experience of existential emptiness, the painful realization that there are no objective values or meanings in the universe. It manifests when the foundations of our life, such as morality, purpose, and justice, are destroyed. By questioning the illusions that sustain our existence, we may face the anguish and despair that arise from the lack of meaning. Facing nihilism is like looking into a deep, desolate abyss. The abyss is not only a metaphor for chaos and emptiness, but also a reflection of ourselves. When we gaze at it for too long, it gazes back at us, exposing our deepest weaknesses, fears, and doubts. The first danger of this confrontation is becoming what we face. Those who fight relentlessly against evil or chaos may, without realizing it, adopt the same methods they seek to combat. This prolonged battle can corrode our identity, distancing us from who we truly are. The second risk is psychological impact. Looking into the abyss without emotional preparation can plunge us into a cycle of hopelessness and helplessness. Without the structure to face it, this emptiness can trigger existential crises and attract those who prefer to destroy without building anything in return. And there is also the dangerous temptation of getting lost in the abyss. When we abandon old beliefs but fail to construct new values, we become subject to chaos, without direction or purpose. Nietzsche distinguishes between confronting the abyss voluntarily and being pushed into it by circumstances. Losses, tragedies, external or internal crises such as the end of a relationship or the loss of a job can throw us into this void, increasing the risk of psychological trauma, especially when we are unprepared. Confronting the abyss requires courage and preparation. It's a test of our integrity, an invitation to reflect on who we are when all illusions are stripped away. But facing the abyss by choice with awareness and intention can be a profoundly transformative experience. This confrontation, though painful, is also an opportunity to overcome illusions and rebuild oneself authentically. Nihilism, despite its devastating weight, can be both a danger and a chance for rebirth. It challenges us to cross the darkness and emerge with a new worldview, building meanings not imposed upon us, but created from our own essence. Nietzsche invites us to face the abyss, but with courage and preparation. Only by confronting the void can we find the freedom to create something entirely new, our own values, our own morality. This is the essence of the overman, the beyond good and evil, the figure who transcends mediocrity and rises above norms and conventions. The man beyond good and evil is not a prisoner of resentment or inherited moralities. He rejects dogmas, traditions, and impositions. He is the one who dances at the edge of the abyss, who finds beauty in chaos, and transforms suffering into creative power. He does not follow predetermined paths but traces his own route. Breaking free from the weight of good and evil, he sees everything from above, without being trapped by the limits society has imposed upon itself. This freedom, however, is not a gift, it is a hard-won achievement. It is by fully embracing one's condition, without resistance, that one has the chance to find true freedom. But understand, this transcendence does not mean acting without limits or responsibility. It is not the freedom to do whatever one wants without considering the consequences. It is, above all, the act of becoming authentic, the creator of one's own reality, the cause of one's existence, and not the consequence of external circumstances. And remember, your freedom ends where another's begins. The true strength of the overman lies in transforming life your own and that of those around you, not with the chains of the past, but with the responsibility of a free and creative spirit. Nietzsche offers us not ready-made answers, but a call for a deep and unsettling confrontation with ourselves. He challenges us to look within and question what sustains the truths we accept without resistance. What values guide our lives, and how many of them are truly ours? Are we prepared to face the discomfort of the abyss, or will we continue to hide behind the masks that comfort us? The path is not easy. On the contrary, the journey toward truth is difficult and lonely. The invitation Nietzsche gives us is bold. Do you have the courage to create your own values, to break the invisible chains we carry. The Overman is not a distant, unreachable figure. He is a hidden possibility within each of us. Nietzsche's thought remains a powerful tool for confronting existential emptiness. He offers us an invitation to courage, to dance upon chaos, to transform suffering into strength, and to embrace life with all its challenges. Facing the abyss is risky. If it is a forced act, it can destroy you and lead to madness. But when faced voluntarily, with preparation and awareness, the abyss can become a mirror that reveals our deepest strength. True courage, according to Nietzsche, does not lie in avoiding suffering, but in accepting it as an ally in the process of transformation. Facing the abyss is not yielding to it, but surpassing it. It is transforming pain into transcendence, suffering into creation, and emptiness into a space for new meanings. This is the essence of Nietzschean philosophy, not to flee from life, but to embrace it fully, dancing between beauty and cruelty and creating, from chaos, something extraordinary. But always remembering that he who fights with monsters must be careful lest he thereby become a monster himself.